everyone. My name's Mary Zupke, and I'm a registered dietitian here at Living Well. Now we're at Northwestern Medicine Living Well Cancer Resources, and so happy that you are joining us today. Picnic time, make it plant-based is our topic, and we have some fun things to show you. I hope you saw in the beginning maybe some of the treats that we're going to be making today, and just kind of adding some plants to our picnic festivities this summer to see how that'll work and give us more of those anti-inflammatory properties that we want. So thanks again for joining us. I do have the chat if people want to raise their hand or ask questions, but let's just get started. Picnics, the word picnic came from a French word, picnic, meaning like a potluck feast. So picnics were first an indoor activity for the aristocracy, and then they moved outdoors in the middle classes, by about the 19th century. So they're kind of informal or formal. People bring their own food, they drink, they share dishes, but it kind of originated in that time period. Picnics in the past have involved rugs, blankets, tables, chairs, games, grills, faucets, garbage containers, and even restrooms. I don't know if any of you are familiar with some of the outdoor concert venues, such as Ravinia, where people get very glamorous and they have their tables, they have candles, they have candelabra. But it doesn't have to be like that. It can be simple. And we have some things today here that show you that you can make it pretty simple, even as simple as going to a picnic table and bringing paper plates. But it's nice to get out in the fresh air. And sometimes when we're outside picnicking, we have more of a tendency to take a walk or be a little bit more active, which is really good for us as well. So I like the whole picnic concept, and I know that we're going to have some great weather this weekend. So hopefully you'll get some recipe ideas that you can use. So Somerset Maugham, a famous author. Oh yeah, and then Ashley said the recipes are all going to be on the Living Well website. It's the culinary nutrition section at Living Well. If some of you are having trouble finding it, feel free to reach out to Living Well because they are so helpful. And I know some people said that they may have friends that are unable to do Teams or join the classes virtually. So feel free to call Living Well if you need some technical help with that. So Somerset Maugham, I love this picnic view in this picture here, said that there are few things so pleasant as a picnic lunch. And I really like that. I feel like no matter what kind of sandwich or snacks you're bringing, it's kind of fun to go outside. And even if you don't have a tablecloth or anything, although a tablecloth is nice, and I do think that we want to make sure that we're, taking time to eat. Part of that intuitive eating, where we're thinking about what we're eating, we're paying attention to our food, we're listening to our hunger cues. It's all part of sitting down at the table and making it a little bit fancy. Ashley said also that the videos are recorded and our virtual classes will be on YouTube. So if you have an iPhone or a laptop where you can access YouTube, you can just look up Living Well and a lot of the videos will pop up. So it's nice that they're recorded now. So if you miss one or if you want to go back, we have a lot of videos in the archives, especially during COVID when we weren't able to see everyone. So check that out. So typically the picnics are the epitome of fun and a delicious event, even if you're having it just in the backyard. I like that they're outside, and during the summer harvest months, you may even be able to pick something from your garden and then wash it first, but then put it right on the table. Picnic baskets came in around the 1900s, which I was kind of surprised. I thought it would have been a little bit sooner. So food and wine, let's see, someone said they're losing the picture, so Ashley's helping you with that. Food and Wine magazine states the classic picnic foods are sandwiches like wraps, or the example here is called a muffaletta sandwich, where it has lots of layers. Also the classic pasta salad or other salads. And we're going to talk about that tonight, but actually both of those. And then if access to a grill, burgers are added to the list. So I think that's, we definitely think of that as a picnic food. And there are all kinds of burgers, and we're going to talk about some options. Simple bite-sized snacks are also popular. And then some type of dessert, like a dessert bar as a treat, or even crackers and dips, such as like hummus or bean dip. So all of those things are considered the epitome of picnic foods, according to the Food and Wine magazine. So we really want to try to make it plant-based. So you've probably heard us talk about the Mediterranean diet before. If you haven't been with us, the Mediterranean diet is really more chicken and fish. Eating that Mediterranean style meal that you see around the Mediterranean. We've found that research has shown that those diets are healthy and that we have less cardiac illness, less cancers in those areas. So now that is part of our evidence-based recommendation and a part of the American Cancer Society recommendations. So the Mediterranean diet, a lot of people think, I can't go on that, it's all vegetables or something. It really isn't. It's more chicken and fish, but occasional red meat is okay. Usually we say to monitor the processed meats and not overdo it, get the nitrate free. But really just eating more chicken and fish, more fruits and vegetables, and getting a variety, trying to get those, eat them from the rainbow, which is trying to get a variety of colors. And then the healthy fats, such as olive oil, avocado, and low-fat dairy as part of the Mediterranean diet. So I think a lot of people think it's only plant-based, meaning it's only beans, only nuts, and that kind of thing. But really, it does have more to it. We also recommend whole grains as part of that in moderation. And then activity. Activity is important. So that's another reason that I talked about it when we're talking about picnics. We want to stay active. The current recommendation, according to the US Dietary Guidelines, is 30 to 60 minutes, 5 days a week of aerobic activity. But that can be you can start with 5 minutes of walking. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a marathon or a 5K or a 10K. So Mediterranean sandwich ideas. There are lots of ways you can do sandwiches. I think a lot of times we get kind of stuck in a rut of using the same things that we always use. We do recommend kind of veering over towards more chicken and turkey, as opposed to more beef and higher sodium choices such as ham. The anti-inflammatory diet does say to have a lower sodium, lower sugar diet if possible. So that's why we kind of veer more towards those. And the chicken breast is a little bit leaner and less fat than the leg or something like that. Quinoa, like a quinoa patty or a black bean burger or Greek burger, those are all okay too. And those are just a different kind of sandwich. So something to kind of break us out of our rhythm. I was talking with someone the other day and they said they were using tofu and sauteing it up and putting it in a pita with some carrots and lettuce and kind of a dressing sauce with it. That would be good too. And that's another way to get some soy protein, which is very healthy for you, as well as high in protein. So they're about 7 grams per serving. And so the pitas give you a lot of options. You could do tuna with celery and pickles, sneaking in some more vegetables. You could do salmon with vegetables. I really like adding hummus to sandwiches. That's a great way to get some chickpeas into your diet. And it also gives it a really good flavor and another texture in your sandwich. I feel like you can use hummus almost as a dressing as well. But we're in the sandwich section. The chickpea salad here, you can make chickpea salad as opposed to tuna or chicken salad, and with a little bit of mayo or olive oil. And then you can add that to a pita as well. So what about salads? Salads are kind of my favorite picnic food. And we made a fun one tonight to talk to you about pea and peanut salad combo. Now, a lot of people forget that peas, even though they do have some starch, they also have some protein and they go really nicely with peanuts. If you have a peanut allergy, though, you could use sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds or any other kind of thing, but any other kind of seed, but those together will give you some good protein. An avocado chickpea salad. So chopping up little pieces of avocado, chopping up, using some canned chickpeas, and then putting your veggies in with that. That's really delicious combination. A Greek salad with roasted vegetables, and then we also have a wild rice, edamame, and tofu dish. So if you're adding together some of those, edamame is also a soy-based protein. And so with the tofu and the edamame, that would give you a complete protein with the wild rice. So that's kind of nice. The grains and the legumes are each missing an amino acid. And so when you have them together, like the rice and beans or peanut butter and bread, those will give you a complete protein. And a great way to add in some plant-based proteins. Lentil or grape salad with feta and Greek olives. So these are some great ideas to look up. Now, we have just another plug for the Living Well culinary nutrition section on recipes. I was talking to a patient today and she said she loves to cook and she was looking for recipes, and I did give her some resources like Cooking Light. Online is a good one. ChooseMyPlate.org, which is the US Dietary Guidelines one. But Living Well, we have a huge library of culinary nutrition recipes, and they're all recipes that we've tried, and we base it on the Mediterranean diet. So don't forget that as a resource. Whole wheat pita with like a pasta salad rather, with capers, garlic, and toasted breadcrumbs. Quinoa salad. A lot of times people are not familiar with how to use quinoa. But it does give some protein as well as giving you some energy because it is a grain. And I feel like it's really nice with a vinaigrette. And it's also nice to add in to another, like a green salad. It gives a different texture, and because it's got some carbohydrate, it gives you some satiety as well. So don't shy away from quinoa, try it out. Now they do have quinoa that's microwavable, that's really easy to use. So we don't have any more excuses. Chopped salads are a great idea, and that's what I made tonight was a chopped salad with various vegetables. You can use seeds or nuts, like I mentioned. You can chop everything really small, or you can make it in 1-inch pieces. You can use the roasted vegetables, as we talked about earlier, and those are great. If you haven't tried roasting vegetables, that's a great way to get some additional flavor and a kind of a different texture as well. But it's got more umami, as they would say, where you're really enjoying the sweetness of the vegetable, but it still has good nutrition. So what about oh yeah, thank you. Ashley's putting some of these recipe resources on there for us, so you guys can pull those right off of the chat. She's such a great resource. We love having Ashley around. So trying, what does plant-based small bites mean? Well, today we made something that looks similar to the picture, using little wonton wrappers. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But it really can be even, taking grapes that you would wash, and sometimes I put a little paper towel on the bottom of the Ziploc bag so it doesn't get all soggy. But if you have grapes in your repertoire, those are easy to eat. You don't really get messy. You can grab them with any type of food. You can put them in salads too. So it doesn't have to be complicated. If you can also do like a hummus spread or various spreads. We have a great red pepper dip recipe on the Living Well website, which is roasted eggplant, roasted red pepper, and garlic and onion, and super easy but delicious. It's you put it all in the food processor, and that's a great thing to do too. You can put that on little crackers or whatever you'd like to fill. It's good to group together fruit and vegetable with either cheese or chicken and fish to add a little bit more protein. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of times in the summer, we're really in the mood for fruit, but we need to make sure, especially during treatment, that we are not missing out on those protein foods. We can only absorb protein every few hours. So if we fill up on a huge fruit salad, we may not get the protein that we need, especially once we're maturing past the age of 65. We know we need sometimes 1.5 times of the protein that we had before. So opt for appetizers that are bite-sized as well. Cucumber and feta and watermelon, for example, that would be a good combination. Cherry tomato with mozzarella and fresh basil. I love that combination when that basil starts growing in the early summer there, and you can pick it right out of your garden, or you can buy it at the farmers markets and you can get it at a much more reasonable price. There are also mini like naan breads or mini pitas where you can make a little sandwich. And I think the fun of a picnic is trying a various things. So if you are just going by yourself or with one other person, then maybe you could each bring a little something to share. But it's kind of fun to go with a group where everyone brings something, kind of like the picnic in France, where everybody brings something and then you can all share. So having small bites lets you do that without getting too full, and then still being able to listen to your hunger cues when you are full. So look for some of those products too. The mini size bagels, for example, those are easy to use too. And the portion size is a little bit more reasonable. So there are lots of options out there. We talked a little bit about roasted vegetables, and I tell you, this sandwich looks so big that you can't really put your mouth around it. But it does look delicious with all those veggies, and it looks like it might even have cauliflower and beans in it, which is very interesting. But adding red peppers to sandwiches. So when I talked about the red pepper eggplant dip, that's something where you could add a combination onto your sandwich or even in your salad. But you can also do separate vegetables. So you can roast cauliflower and broccoli, for example, and make that into a salad, or just serve it with a little olive oil in a little Rubbermaid container or Tupperware or whatever you have at home to take with you. You can have those salads, opt for salads with roasted vegetables too. You can do a lot of different roasting. I really like the onions when they're roasted as opposed to when they're raw. The other thing you can do with onions is do a quick pickling where you do just a couple tablespoons of vinegar and a couple tablespoons of honey and let it sit for 15 minutes once you've chopped it up. And that kind of takes the bite out of the fresh onion. So I think those are a good idea too. You can dice up the roasted vegetables and put them in a quiche. Quiche is a great picnic food because you can cut it up in squares or in pizza cut of, triangles, and it's easy to carry and easy to take with you. So, and you can eat quiche cold or warm, so that's wonderful too. And if you're making quiche at home, dicing up those roasted vegetables and throwing them in would be a great way to get some more of it. Using pasta salads to add a depth of flavor and texture with those roasted vegetables. So I think a lot of times when we're making a pasta salad, first of all, we use the white pasta, which may not keep you as full as the whole grain pasta. So check out some of the whole grain pasta options. The higher fiber will keep you full longer. So that's kind of nice. And then adding in some protein. So oftentimes we will see like mozzarella cheese or feta cheese in those pasta salads. But we also want to add in some veggies, and maybe this would be a good place to add in some more plant-based foods like beans, or like a Mexican salad where you're doing a salsa and black beans. So just think about how can you add those in different ways. So the anti-inflammatory foods we've been talking about a little bit, and I like to really focus in on this because this is something that we talk about in nutrition during survivorship. So, which means anytime after diagnosis. And these foods can help prevent recurrence and provide a decrease in that chronic inflammation that we see throughout our bodies that can lead to cardiac illness or cancer or diabetes. So having some foods that we know we can really focus in on, like beets. We're getting close to a really good beet season at the farmers markets. And try the red ones, try the golden ones. They're all tasty and have a lot of good nutrition. Berries, we're really in the big berry season. We're just on the verge of it, which is awesome. So adding those into salads, or even putting, on your sandwich, that, try something different. I just read another article about blueberries, and blueberries are known as kind of a superfood, but they're finding out some more good things about the anthocyanins that are in blueberries, which is really nice for us to know. Broccoli and cauliflower, and even Brussels sprouts. I made a couple of classes ago a Brussels sprout salad where you shred the Brussels sprouts and then you roast them, and then you have like a vinaigrette with them. So that's kind of a way, if you don't like typical ways that Brussels sprouts are made, you might be able to shred them, and that kind of diffuses that bitterness a little bit. Same with the roasting of them. Greens, there are lots of varieties of greens. And also I would say in your farmers markets, look for some microgreens. Microgreens have 40% more of the nutrients of their full parent plant, I guess you would call it. So it's kind of compacted, and they're kind of like the old-fashioned alfalfa sprouts. We don't usually recommend those during treatment, but if you're past treatment, it's a good way to get some nutrition and get those greens in. Tomatoes, oh my goodness. Some of you may have met Nancy, who teaches classes with me, and Nancy and I are going to be teaching a tomato class this summer, so that'll be really fun. So look for that one for lots of good tomato ideas. I like all colors of tomatoes, even the green tomatoes. Usually they're fried, which isn't the best, but you can bake them too, and with a little breading, and they're delicious. Peppers, all kinds of sweet and hot peppers are in that anti-inflammatory group, as well as squash, like yellow squash. That's going to be coming up sooner. And then in the fall, we'll look at the butternut squash and all of those kinds of yummy squashes. So we really want to take advantage of the local markets if possible. The fruits and vegetables are best at peak maturity. We know that if there's increased amount of nutrients, we know that there are increased amount of nutrients, including vitamin C, if you get them sooner rather than later. And there's also a high B vitamin level due to the less transportation time. So we know that with time is not a good factor for nutrition. So if we can buy it more local, it's going to be fresh. We're going to have more good nutrition. There's less processing by heat, then you will have a higher vitamin C. Also, you want to provide, there are higher amounts of the fat-soluble nutrients, such as vitamins A and E, and the carotenoids, such as lycopene. And that is really important for prostate cancer. So you want to have less oxygen exposure to that, less light, and less heat. So all of those will help preserve that lycopene in those good tomatoes. So once picked, fruits and vegetables begin to have high rates of respiration, and that's why you're losing that nutrients. There's moisture loss, there's quality loss, so it might not be as tasty and fresh. That's why we always like those farmers market tomatoes, because they're right off the vine and then we are eating them. And then, and also the potential for microbial spoilage, which we definitely don't want during treatment or anytime really. So transport from storage to consumption can sometimes take from 5 days to 15 days. So if it's grown in the Southern Hemisphere, like for the winter or spring consumption, then there's possibly that it's just a few days, but it may take several weeks. So sometimes you can see these fruits and vegetables taking 1 to 3 days, and sometimes up to 7 to 15. So we really want to check out the produce that we're buying and make sure that it's fresh and providing us the nutrients that we want. Okay, so farmers markets are a great option for that. They're sourcing locally grown foods. Sometimes you want to ask the farmers markets where they're getting their produce, or some of the vendors, because sometimes they are bringing it to the market and it may be further away. So just check and see kind of your sources and where they are. There are currently about 8,600 farmers markets in this country. So they've really been increasing. There are a lot in our area. For example, there is the French market in Geneva as well as Wheaton. Batavia has a farmers market too, which has been very popular and really growing. There's one in St. Charles as well. I think that one's on Friday, so that would be good for people that aren't working. And so just kind of check out the area and see where there are some farmers markets that you might be interested in checking out. The USDA states that the number of farmers markets in the United States has grown to 76% from 2008 to 2014. So now it's leveling off a little bit, but during that time, we've seen a lot of growth of these local farms and little farm stands. There are actually a lot of little farm stands around the area too. If you go just out of town, not even very far, there are some farms just close by where you can get microgreens. You can try getting a share of fresh produce from these farms as well. And that's when you either pick it up or they deliver it to the market and you pick it up there. But you get a box of fresh produce every week usually. And sometimes you may get some vegetables that stretch your comfort zone a little bit, which is nice. So that's something to keep in mind, that look around to see what kind of resources we have close by. So what about herbs? Herbs have so much flavor, and they do have a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, and they also have some good nutrition. So it's nice that we can add them in, and especially the locally grown, or if you can grow them at your home, then that's even better. They do get expensive if you're trying to buy fresh herbs every single time. So it's nice if you can kind of check out the plants maybe and put them in a pot. We did some information on a previous video where we talked about planting basil. And I think one thing that people are not aware of is that the small pots that the basil comes in, that are, just kind of about the size of my hands here, those are going to be really small. And they won't allow for the basil roots to grow. So what you really want to do is have kind of a 12-inch pot for basil. And then when you plant the plant, just one plant in a 12-inch pot will be fine. It will grow to 3 or 4 feet. And then when you harvest from the bottom of the plant. So that'll be something just to kind of keep in mind for your basil and your fresh pestos and things like that. Basil can reduce blood cholesterol, as far as we know. There are some studies that are showing that or leaning that way. It's got some good anti-inflammatory properties to help with joint pain. It could reduce the hardening of the arteries, which is helping with your cardiac health. And it also may help prevent some cancers. So having basil tastes good. It looks beautiful on the plate, but we know that it's really helping us nutrition-wise too. So kind of keep those in mind. Dill is another one. I love making dill pickles, and maybe we'll have to have a class with dill pickles because it's really easy. And we have some cucumbers today that are in the salad that are the little small cucumbers. So those are real easy, where you can just put them in a ball jar and heat up the water and the pickling mixture, and you can put them in your fridge and have pickles really easily. So dill pickles are a great way to add some texture and some flavor to your salads and your sandwiches as well. And we do count those as vegetables. So kind of keep that in mind. They may help improve your appetite, which is kind of nice to know. And oftentimes we do see a decreased appetite in treatment. So I think too that with taste changes, because that's got a vinegar base to it, the dill pickles, for example, those are really helpful if you have taste changes. They may help with liver or gallbladder problems. They may help with colds or coughs, and they may also help in kidney disease. So right there, those are a lot of organs that dill might be helping. What about mint? Now, mint, if you are growing this at home, please put it in a big pot and watch out if little leaves start to go over the side, because it's a very hardy plant and it will start to take over. And any of our gardeners out there will know that you have to really kind of contain your mint. But it's really helpful in a lot of things. We know that it does help with nausea, which is really helpful for some of our friends that are in treatment. It also may help with headaches. So that's kind of interesting. And I think part of that is because it's helping with settling your stomach. And when you're having nausea and vomiting, then you sometimes can have headaches because you're getting dehydrated. It can help with muscle or nerve pain. So that's really good to know. And also with other stomach issues. So mint is really helpful. I like adding mint to fruit salads because it gives it a little brightness, and it's really nice with like a watermelon mint feta salad. That's really helpful. But if you put it in, I have another recipe where you use romaine and peas and fresh mint and some fresh parsley and a vinaigrette, and it's all green, but it's really fresh and bright, and mint is really a nice addition. So that's something to just keep in mind to add in some of our herbs. There may be other herbs that you like to use too. Rosemary is great when you're roasting vegetables. It's such a strong flavor that it really imparts a lot of good flavor. Okay, so we're going to be doing some recipe demos today. And I have 3 items here that you can kind of see on the PowerPoint, or
I'm taking
you did see on the PowerPoint, but that's okay. So I want to show you a little bit about what we're going to make today. And I'll just put my PowerPoint over there. The first thing I'm going to show you is the salad. So I'm going to grab the salad here. And I'll put together this gorgeous salad. I think you can, hopefully you can see all the colors. And I'm going to tell you kind of what's in the salad. The plant-based item is the chickpeas. So I just used a canned chickpeas, and I love that it gives it more flavor. It gives it some good protein, and it actually gives some nice color too. So hopefully you can see that. There's a little bit of, you can use feta, or this has got some herb goat cheese. And then we have some Kalamata olives over here. I love the Kalamatas. They give it some nice flavor. And then we have these little mini cucumbers, and I've chopped them up pretty small. And I like it when they're small like that because they're easier to, they're really sweet. You don't have to peel them. So that's a nice thing. And then we just did a little bit of red pepper here, red onion right here in the middle. And so, and it's all on a bed of romaine lettuce. So we're going to make the vinaigrette that goes with this. But I think if you know, a bowl like this, where you can kind of see all the colors, then that really is nice for a picnic spread because it looks inviting, it looks delicious, and people are going to want to tap into that a little bit more. So let's kind of look at our vinaigrette here. I have started with the Dijon mustard. And I'm going to pour in, I'm using rice vinegar today. Sometimes I'll use red wine vinegar, but this recipe called for rice vinegar. So you really want to, Ashley's doing a good job of getting the action there. You really want to make sure to mix up the Dijon mustard with the rice vinegar. And I think we need just a little bit more of the rice vinegar because I like mine a little bit tart. And then we're also going to add in some lemon. So what the mustard does is give it some emulsification properties. It kind of pulls the vinaigrette together. So we're going to squeeze our lemons here and just get a little bit of that fresh lemon juice. That's going to give you some good antioxidants, which is nice as well. And we need about 2 or 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to do probably a lemon and half of the lemon is working there. And then that's kind of all we need for that. So we have all the acidic things in here. And then what we're going to do is slowly add the olive oil. And I like to use a little bit less than the recipe calls for. But what you want to make sure to do is to not add in more than double of what you have in there already, and then make sure it's emulsified. So you can kind of see here, you don't see the olive oil sitting on top anymore. And that's because it's emulsifying. So that mustard is helping bring those together. And then when you get a little bit more in there, so see now you can see the oil. And then as long as you don't pour in more than half, it's going to emulsify together. Just gives it a little bit of a different consistency. You don't have to have it emulsified, but this is how I learned when I was living in France, and I've kind of gotten into the habit of doing it, and kind of gives you a nice, the flavors stay together nicely. So, and then what I would do is add some fresh parsley to this. And I've already done that to the salad, but I'm going to add a little bit more here. And you can chop it up really small so that it kind of goes through the whole salad dressing. I like to use this flat leaf parsley. It gives you a little bit more. You can kind of see it's a little bit, the curly parsley is very pretty, but the flat leaf parsley gives you a little bit more flavor. So a little bit more of that flat leaf parsley in there, and just give it that fresh flavor. And then our lemons over here, because we're done with those. And then we're gonna just dress the salad. Now, if you are going on a picnic, you may want to hold off on dressing the salad and take it in like a little ball jar or some other kind of container so that your salad ingredients stay nice and fresh. And you want to make sure that your greens don't get soggy. So once you're there at the picnic, then you would go ahead and dress the salad and just make sure that you're kind of dispersing it, but don't do it too long ahead. Sometimes if you feel like you're going to be out and about for a while, you may even want to on separately. So you can have people just take what they want, take a little bits of all parts of the salad, and then, you know, that way it'll stay longer. So if you feel like you're all going to eat at the same time, you might want to dress it so you're ready to go. Other than that, you can do it individually too. but it's just glistening now and it has such good colors and flavors. So I hope this is something that's simple. You can substitute any of these things, and you could even do some roasted vegetables on there, which would be amazing. I like that we've got the chickpeas for the plant-based protein. We've got a little bit extra protein here for with the goat cheese. And so, and we do have a lot of textures, which is nice too. We've got the tomatoes, the chickpeas are a little bit harder. We have the olives, and then the cucumbers provide a nice crunch. So yeah, so anyway, there is our plant-based salad. So we'll put that over here. Oh, one last thing before we move on, I did get some craisins too, and that's going to give some little antioxidant flair to it. But I sometimes like to add a little fruit, like I said, to some of the savory items, and it provides a nice little garnish too. So look how gorgeous. I think that's so pretty. All right, so the other thing I want to show you today is an appetizer, and this is a Thai chicken appetizer. It does have peanuts, so if you do have a peanut allergy, you want to use some butter and maybe some. I used a mini muffin pan for this, and I wanted to show you what kind of wraps I got, and also that the filling could use for this appetizer, or you could use it for a wrap, or you could put it on top of your salad or stuff it in pita. So that's why I thought this recipe would be nice to show. So these are the wonton wraps that I got, and they're very easy to use. If you aren't familiar with them, try them out because they're really easy to use. So the wraps are just about like this 2-inch square. And what I do is I do a little spray, but you could do some olive oil in your muffin tin. And you can see that that's there. But the reason why you do that is not because it sticks to the pan. It helps punch up the wonton. So you really just put that in the little muffin tin, and this is a mini muffin tin, as you can see. It's not the normal size muffin tin. And then it kind of turns into the shape that you'll see. Let's see if I can get this one apart. It's been sitting out for a minute. You don't want them to sit out too long. You can tell that they're really pliable. And then you just will, spray your spray and then kind of turn it a little bit. And then I like to flatten out the bottom because if you're able to do that, then it'll sit nicely on your tray. So what I do is I would bake these first for 4 minutes at 350, and then you make your filling while they're baking. Once you pull them out, you will fill them up. Now, I just used a roastery chicken for this. So I just chopped up the chicken. It's got some yummy carrots, some green onion, and then it has a really quick peanut sauce. And I thought I'd show you what was in that peanut sauce today. So the peanut sauce has a little bit of peanut butter, obviously. And we'll just scoop that out here. I kind of like using the peanut sauce too, because that's going to give us a little bit more protein, which is nice. And then we're going to have, there's a little bit of coconut milk. I like the light coconut milk, and that's really easy to use. And then we have the sweet chili sauce. Now this is sweet chili sauce. There is a chili sauce that's really spicy. So depending on how you like it, I like the sweet chili sauce. And then also it has a little bit of the rice vinegar in this one. So we're going to add the sweet chili sauce there. And then we have some soy sauce along with the rice vinegar. So we're just going to whisk that together and A whisk is the tool you want to use because the peanut butter is kind of thick and sticky. But really it comes together nicely. And then you've got the coconut flavor, you've got the spice from the chili sauce, you've got the vinegar, and then peanut butter. And like I said, and it comes together really nicely in a nice kind of a creamy sauce, but it's giving you some protein. And it really isn't very um, that's so you would mix this together with the chicken and the green onions and the carrots, and that would be how you would use that peanut sauce. So I have some leftover fried chicken sauce here, and or fried chicken filling. And so you can kind of see this is kind of how it turns out when you're mixing it together. And you may even want to drizzle some of the sauce right on top after you're done. And then we garnish it with a little bit of roasted peanuts. So that's kind of a nice little garnish. But this, you can see that this filling here would be great on top of a salad or in a wrap or in pita. And so it's easy to have, and you know, you can keep it in the fridge for 1 to 2 days and use it for another meal. So I think it's versatile, but I do suggest trying these little wonton wraps just to give you a little bit of different texture. And they do look really beautiful. I'll show you now the platter over here, and salad and bread here. So they look beautiful on the plate. I like garnishing them with the green onions. They look really fresh, and it kind of tells you that there's some green onions and that it's an Asian dish in here. So you could put these, this is actually just a little plastic plate I got at the dollar store. So you can put it in a Rubbermaid or a Tupperware, whatever is easier for you, but you can pull out one of these little plates and they go right back in your cooler easy enough. And then I'm just showing some paper plates and napkins here. You know, kind of make it fun, make it beautiful so that when you sit down, you're kind of excited about your meal. I did want to show this. This is a little hummus and crackers. What a great idea. You can get a few of these and just throw them in. They're easy to travel. They've got the hummus right on the bottom and some of these little cups on the top. You're getting some good protein. They have 7 grams of fiber, but also 10 grams of protein. So that's really nice. Why not sneak those in? You know, that's a great idea. You can always have your herbs for dressing up your table. And then you know, you can have a fancy beverage if you want, but this is just a ball jar with some water and some floating lemon. You could try sparkling water too, but it makes it kind of fun and festive. And then I just put together some fruit skewers. So you can see kind of the blackberries have the highest fiber, so I always like to include those. But the strawberries, if you can look at them in the right way, they have like little hearts. But you know, having the fruit cut and clean and skewered up makes people more interested in trying it. And then the last thing just to show you is just these little candles. They're just these little inserts, so you don't have to worry about safety. And when you put them in a little ball jar, it just kind of finishes off your picnic table. So show you some picnic ideas and give you some food for thought, literally, for your picnics this summer. But, you know, try to be creative and think about other things that you could try that would be new and different for you. Don't have to stick with the typical things that you've had in the past. So, if you guys have any questions, you can always feel free to ask through Living Well, and we would love to help you with that. We are happy that you're here joining us with these classes, and I hope you have a wonderful summer and a great day, and we'll see you next time at our next class.